A stolen bioluminescent hymn turned spores death knell whisper of older things. Umbrella's labs carved its genetic code from sacred soil-cold steel tables, the hum of centrifuges, the scent of decay. Progenitor weaponized became T-virus, a stolen hymn turned death knell. A blueprint turned death finger's knell, trembling over symbols that asterisk breathed asterisk. How many civilizations had this theft erased? The air in the chamber grew colder. The virus did not begin in vats, it began in violation. Umbrella's vaults hold no discovery, only a theft. A prehistoric African civilization encoded the progenitor's secrets in their DNA. Core like Umbrella excised, weaponized, erased. The T-virus was not a breakthrough. It was corporate violence, rewriting life's blueprint for profit. How many bloodlines were spliced, how many rituals shattered? The vats did not create, they desecrated. The virus origins lie not in science, but in stolen heritage, and the cold. It is the weight of their crime still spreading. The progenitor's genetic code was etched into obsidian tablets, buried deep in a forgotten savanna. Marcus, blind to the weight of his theft, synthesized its blueprint in 1968. Test tubes hissed, antiseptic stung the air. Freezers groaned with the rattle of frozen horrors. The Arclay lab hummed with false promise. Fluorescent lights flickered, casting shadows over blueprints stained with blood. By 1998, Umbrella's greed had twisted the stolen code into a monstrosity. Raccoon City's air thickened with the stench of rot corpses bloated in the streets, eyes hollow, hunger in their gut. Children's laughter drowned in screams. One researcher, pen in hand, finally understood. Some knowledge is a curse. The cold never left the bones. A child's doll lay half-buried in ash. Its smile, frozen in terror, mirrored the lab's first test subject. They never asked to inherit this. A single document surfaces, yellowed, smudged with ash, the original research data of Raccoon City. Its text links the progenitor virus to the stairway of the Suna flower, not a creation of men, but a relic of a lost African civilization. The data is explicit, genetic code ripped from sacred soil, repurposed in sterile labs. Umbrella did not discover life's blueprint. They plundered it, the stairway of the sun, once guarded by rituals, now reduced to a vector. Its genome twisted, spliced, until the T-virus emerged as a weapon born of theft. No accident, no mutation, a crime against nature. The flower's purpose was never to corrupt. It thrived in balance, a testament to harmony. But Umbrella saw only power. The first test subject, the child's doll, the frozen familial echoes of what was stolen. What if the T-virus was never meant to exist? What if its creation was a scar, not a leap? The data does not ask forgiveness, it commands remembrance. The stairway of the sun still blooms. But its song is drowned in screams, 262 words. The progenitor's code was not a gift, it was a theft. Buried in Umbrella's archives, a 1998 lab log details how they spliced ancient African DNA into a pathogeno accident, no experiment. A declaration of war on nature's design. The first tyrant, the first liquor, crawled from test tubes stained with stolen divinity. The Spencer mansion was not a mistake, it was a proving ground, corpses reanimated, flesh reshaped into weapons. The walls bled with the screams of what they unmade. What did they call it? A breakthrough. A virus that turns men into monsters and monsters into soldiers. The T-virus, not a mutation, but a mutilation. The progenitor's original purpose lost to time was never to rot brains or crack bones. It was a blueprint for life, twisted into a death mask. The 1998 outbreak wasn't a lake, it was a test. A signal and the world answered, zombies shambling, tyrants stomping. Lickers clinging to shadows, each a monument to Umbrella's hubris. They didn't weaponize the progenitor, they desecrated it, turned sacred code into a recipe for ruin. The Spencer family's blood mingled with the virus, a dynasty of death. The mansion's doors slammed shut, but the horror spilled outward. A single vial's worth of sin became a plague. What did they fear more than death? Control. The rage in Umbrella's labs wasn't about survival, it was about dominion. They didn't just steal a virus, they stole the right to life itself. The 1998 files don't ask what if. They demand what next. The answer is written in every zombie's groan, in every tyrant's fist. The progenitor's forbidden blueprint is no longer forbidden. It is a dirge, a warning. What price did they pay for playing God? The theft was not a leap, it was a theft. Ancient scripts in the Congo whisper of a people who harnessed the progenitor's code to forge flesh into godhood. Umbrella took their glyphs, repurposed their rituals, forged the T-virus in a lab's sterile heart. From there, the plague spread Antarctica. Raccoon City, a parasite's march across ice and concrete. The mold of Re-7 is no anomaly. It is the progenitor's scream, reborn in fungal veins, whispering "this is how you fall." The G-virus, a twisted air. Las Plagas, a parasitic crown, both carry the original sin. Umbrella's hubris did not end in a single outbreak. It birthed a lineage of corruption, every mutation a shadow of the theft, every hybrid a requiem for the civilization erased. What did they become, those who pilfered eternity, not gods, vectors? The very air hums with their crime. The T-virus is not a weapon, it is a wound, a global scar. And in its DNA the answer lingers. What if the dead never intended their power to be found? Umbrella called it a breakthrough, a lab-born marvel. The truth carves deeper. The progenitor virus hums with an older rhythmic's code etched into the bones of a vanished African kingdom. Weaponization followed theft. Profit demanded sacrifice, no discovery, only desecration. They stripped its secrets, spliced its rage, forged it into the T-virus. A stolen god unchained. What if the progenitor's warning echoed in its DNA all along? Umbrella's notebooks whisper of risks calculated. Of ancient warnings dismissed, they did not create the T-virus. They unraveled a seal meant to hold. The dead do not forgive. And in the labs where life became a commodity, the first scream was not from a test subject. It was the Earth itself. What if the T-virus was never meant to exist? What if the T-virus was never meant to exist? A cipher stolen from prehistoric African hands, the progenitor virus was not a relic, it was a warning. Umbrella's scientists stripped its code, reshaping it into a weapon T-virus, sharp and hungry. They did not create life, they unmade balance. In labs beneath Raccoon City, flesh became a battlefield. The virus spilled unchecked. A single vial, a ruptured pipe, and the dead rose not as ghosts but as grotesque parodies of the living. Mutation fed on mutation. The earth turned against itself. No containment, no cure. Only the hollow-eyed hordes and the howl of a city choking on its own bones. 1998 became a scar burned into history. What does it mean to play God with a language older than humanity? Umbrella's theft was not innovation, it was desecration. The progenitor had guarded secrets too vast, too volatile, and when the veil tore, the consequences were written in blood. Raccoon City fell not from a disease, from a reckoning. The labs of Umbrella Corporation breathed not with innovation, but with greed. Geneticists carved sacred sequences from the progenitor's genome-stolen relics of a forgotten African kingdom that once harnessed life's primordial code. They did not create, they desecrated. The T-virus was no accident, it was a wound sutured into the world. Raccoon City's streets drowned not in rain, but in the viscera of hubris. The military's flames erased a city, but could not burn the truth. Power unchecked becomes a predator. Umbrella's boardrooms, air-conditioned and sterile, birthed monsters. Their spreadsheets tallied casualties as assets. The progenitor's whisper-soft balance of reverence you are drowned beneath profit margins. What if the T-virus was never meant to exist? A forbidden blueprint torn from a civilization that understood life's fragility. Now its legacy festers, the earth remembers. The dead do not whisper, they roar. And in the silence between explosions, one truth remains. The cost of their ambition was never the virus. It was the world it left broken. Umbrella's theft birthed the T-virus. From rot, the G-virus crawled. From flesh, Las Plagas spread. Global experiments bled across continents. Each mutation a step toward horror's apex. The progenitor's blueprint was never meant to be weaponized until they found the key. Beneath a blistering sun, the stairway of the sun blooms petals iridescent, exuding a sweet, metallic tang. Umbrella's scientists tore its DNA in '68, gloves slick with sap that burned like acid. Years later, in a lab choked with flickering monitors, they spliced it into decay. The T-virus was born not in flesh, but in the silence between a stolen breath and a scream. You can still taste iodazone and rot in the air of Raccoon City's ruins. What have we unearthed when the Earth refused to let go? The progenitor's blueprint wasn't just stolen. It was begged from shadows twisted by greed.